Okay, I'm going to close this tab. Okay, so here we are with all of our newly created categories. And I'm going to go ahead and view the site. And it's done nothing. Why has it done nothing? Because all we've done is create some categories. And in those categories, we're going to add articles as content. And then we're going to use menu items to link to those articles. Okay, and that'll show up as our navigation. Okay? So we haven't done anything to the site yet. We're just setting up how to manage our content. Okay, now, if you're in here right now in your category manager, all you have to do is click on articles. If you're not here, if you're not coming directly from the other video, then perhaps you are starting from your control panel here, okay? So let's go back to the control panel, just so that you can see that there's a bunch of different ways to get to the same place. So you can either just add a new article by clicking on add a new article. You can go to the article manager. You can go to content, article manager, or content, article manager, add new article. All right, I'm going to click on article manager. That's going to get me right back to where I was. See that? If I click over here on articles, it's going to take me over here to my list of my newly created articles. And that's kind of nice just to realize that there's a few ways to get to the same spot. It just depends on your workflow and where you're going. And there's all of our categories again. And sorry about that. We'll go right back to articles again. And of course, articles is blank. And so what we want to do is create a new article. So I'm going to go ahead and, well, let's take a look here. Here is the list of the web pages I want on my site for now. Okay? And so if you have, you made a sitemap, so you already know which web pages you want. And so you also already know, because of the sitemap web pages, what menu items, or in other words, navigation links that you want on that page. So that's why it's so nice setting all that stuff up ahead of time. And so then what I've done is I made a list here of my categories, made a list of the articles I know I want. In this case, the web pages. Note that articles are not web pages. Articles are chunks of content. However, you can have a single article be a single web page. And later you'll see that you don't always have to do that. You can have like 5 articles on one page and all that. But for now, we're just going to think about an article being a web page. Okay? You create one page, and that's a single article that we're going to link to. Okay? Or we create one article, and we will have one navigation link that will link to that article. And so in other words, in this case, I'm going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 pages on this website to start out with. Okay? So I want to create this first one here about trees, okay? That's going to be my first article, the basic overview of what trees are, okay? So I clicked new, and there we go. Okay, now again, remember, there's a lot of different ways you can do that. You can be in the control panel and just click new article. You can go to content, article manager, new article, or just go into the article manager and click on the new button. There's a lot of ways to do that, but here we are. And anyway, about trees, that's the first one. About trees. Okay, what category do we want that to be in? Okay, I'm gonna have that in the about section. Okay, what's this site about? It's about trees, about trees. Okay, and it's just gonna be like the opening welcome intro to what is this site about. Maybe your site is about you, the artist, and so your first article in your about category, if you did create an about category, would be all about you, the author of the website, or about your favorite band or favorite car, or whatever it is that you're choosing to make your site about. Okay? So my category here is going to be about. You have to give your article a category. If you don't, it's going to create a category for you called uncategorized. Okay, so it demands that your articles are linked to some kind of a category. Okay, and oh man, when you have, let's say you have 100 articles, and when you're in an article manager, you can actually filter them out to just the 5 articles that have to do about trees or something like that. And just being able to filter and organize your content and that's why we call these content management systems. It's a fantastic way to manage incredible amounts of content quite easily. So, pay attention to the categories and where you're putting things. If not, it's going to create a default category called uncategorized. And if you just go wild creating articles and don't assign them anywhere, you're going to end up with all these articles in a big lump called uncategorized. Okay? So in this case, about, and looks like that is just about it. Now, there's one thing here that I'll show you. I'm going to go ahead and try and click save. And it's not going to let me. Unlike categories, this article is going to demand that we put something in here. See? Save failed with the following error. The article must have some content. We have to put content in here, okay? You can't just keep making blank articles. It wants something in here. Now, let's say that you don't know what goes in here yet, okay? You can literally just say, hey, put in stuff about, whoops, I have to spell right, about trees here, okay? I mean, if you have to. If you don't have, and I mean, maybe you're making something for a client and they have no idea what they want to put in here yet. They just know something goes there. You can fill it up with Latin text or something. But you do have to put something in here to create this article. Okay, so what I'm going to do then is I'm going to add some content by going up to my tree site content here and copying this part right here. And again, I just took all this from Wikipedia. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and throw in the title here, which I can just type that. And it's going to be trees. Okay, and I'm going to make this a H2. Okay, and look at that. Okay, H2. Heading 2. I'm going to go ahead and toggle to the HTML side here. And look at that. You guys have seen this already. H2 trees, right? Right angle bracket or left angle bracket / H2 right angle bracket. See that? So now you can see exactly what's going on here, just like when we're typing HTML code. So this is our HTML editor, and that's pretty cool. You can just assign this to be a heading 2, and if you look at the code, it's doing it for you. Now, in a perfect world, this thing would work. But HTML editors often don't. And, it's universal among all the HTML editors out there. You see, computers simply follow instructions, and sometimes the instructions aren't quite that clear. If you're like making something in H2 and you're hitting spacebar and then enter and then delete a couple of times, then you make something in H3 and then you cut and paste something, and the next thing you know, you just have this jumbled mess of instructions over here that it's not able to properly read that well, and it might have a hard time differentiating. And so you might set something to be in H2, and then the thing below it may supposed to be in H3, but it might still just be picking up some of the H2 attributes. And if you flip over the code here by toggling the editor or clicking on the HTML window here, and that'll pop it up, you can get in here and manually edit the HTML. Also, there are times when you want to shut off this editor and just work in straight code. For example, when embedding iframes. When do you embed iframes? You embed iframes if you want to directly embed YouTube or Vimeo videos. Okay? Without using any of the various plugins that you can do instead of using code. Just going straight at the editor, you want to do all that in code. So, you always have the option of flipping things over back and forth, and you'll use this a lot. That's why we had to learn very, very basic HTML and CSS. Okay, the HTML is going to come in handy for formatting. The CSS is going to come in handy when we actually start to edit our templates. Okay? So trees. What's next? It's going to say according to Wikipedia. Why? Because everything I am pasting on here I just took from Wikipedia. Okay, and I'm going to make that a heading 4. Heading 4. Let's flip over the editor and look at that. Okay. There's our H2 and there's our H4. Okay, so it's a good thing we learned a little bit about what's going on here, right? We are wrapping content in HTML tags using an HTML editor. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and click this little line here. That's just going to give me a horizontal line. Okay, I just want it in there, okay? Just showing you that it's an option. And what am I going to do? I'm going to copy all these paragraphs now, and just to right there, okay? And I'm going to throw those in right here. And these are just paragraphs, okay? And I'm going to leave them all just the way they are. Let's see here. Yeah, I mean, okay, let's just go ahead and leave them like that for now. We're going to go through next week and really format everything. Although, feel free. I think that you can figure this out pretty quick now, right? Like, if you look ahead for next week, we're just going to be formatting our articles. Okay, boy, you can just toggle the editor and get in here and read this code. Yes, it smashed it all together. But just go ahead and read the tags, and you can just go ahead and, divide things up. Remember that HTML doesn't really read these spaces, so you can go in here and just divide things up the way you want to, around your wrapped tags and create some space in here and work right from here. You're going to recognize everything. We went over very, very, very basic HTML. However, that very basic HTML is actually all the tags that we're going to be using inside here, which is why those are the tags that we spent some time with a couple of weeks ago. So there we go. There's a lot of other stuff here, like the article options. Holy smokes, look at all that. And you'll see, for now, just leave all this at global. Okay, next week we'll dig into more what all these things mean. However, notice the tooltips. You totally can figure it out. Also, don't be afraid to Google these things. Show article. Just Google that. Joomla, show article. And just start like digging through the internet and finding out the, how to do things. But for now, just leave everything global. Yeah, we're going to leave everything as it is, okay? Because we have a few articles to create here. So, good enough. Save and close.